Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Pepper School. This is the Garden of Apologies. I am Eric. I am your Barmy Farmer. This is episode 18. So this is going to wrap out the last of the fresh peppers we have from the 2023 season. We had our frost last weekend. We dropped back down to about -3, -4 overnight. It came back up to a couple of nice days afterwards, but that hard frost we had overnight certainly ended our season, outside of the greenhouse of extreme regret. We're still trucking along a little bit in there, but outside in the garden, it's done. So, normally I do 6 peppers per episode, but for this episode, because it's the last episode, I've got the balance of what I have from the Garden of Apologies, and I'm looking at 8 peppers. This will be challenging, but it's fun. And if my math is correct, this will take the total for this first season of Pepper School to 104 types of pepper. So let's have a look at these here. I've got my book of notes so I know what I'm eating. Start off with a Big Bertha bell pepper. Yep. There's Hank. It's always cat time here in the Garden of Apologies. I've got Meowery over here. Meowery Poppage. That's it. And I've got marbles right here. So, I have an ahi confusion with the Big Bertha. There is a monster Cayenne. Been growing that one for a few years. I have it's a dinky little guy, but it's the best I got out of the plants this season. That is a Death Spiral. Plants could have used another few weeks before we had our frost hit us. I also have, it's a small one, but it's what you get this year. It's a Jay's Peach Ghost Scorpion. A little bit off pheno. They're usually a little more peachy color of this. This is a little more red-orange, but hey, it's the last we've got. I've had those a few other times. I've grown them previously. And it's been a crazy week. We lost Marbles, my favorite cat, last week, so my head's been a bit off. So I'm pretty sure this is a Bhutlah scorpion. I'm not 100% sure, but through process of elimination and what I remember picking, I am pretty sure this is a Bhutlah scorpion. We'll go with that, and we'll see what we've got. We also have a chocolate Primotalii, and we round it out with a pepper, a home accidental cross from my good friend Heiko. He's called this Lemon Bob. So, I have a pepper knife here. Let's just get right at it. So, show you my plate here, the laptop, got my notes. There we go. Meowery Poppage. He's a good cat. There we go. All right. Got a Big Bertha. So I got these from Jolly Farmer. I order in seeds with our local Mennonite community, or not seeds rather, seedlings. And this is it's an F1 oversized bell pepper. It hasn't been released in seed form, to my knowledge, but you can buy seedlings every spring. I usually pre-order the seedlings, and they make a terrific bell pepper. Bell peppers are a great thickener and great sauce component. Much better than using xanthan gum or agar or any of that kind of stuff. So, here. Yep. Oh, hey. This one's still a bit dirty. I didn't wash this one off. Look at the top there. See, this is okay for me, but I've got some debris in there. This would never make it, never fly in the kitchen. So, look at how thick these walls are. I'll just bust off a half of it here. It's a big, thick, robust bell pepper. Big Bertha. Once you've grown these, you're not going to bother with those little California Wonders or any of those crappy little bell peppers. Get yourself a Big Bertha. Maybe hit me up next spring when I have the seedlings available. And start winning yourself the the little produce competitions they have at the local agricultural fairs. There we go. Red bell pepper. Big Bertha. You can't go wrong. It's big. It's a Bertha. It's a bell pepper. Awesome. All right, for next up in heat, I think that's going to be, here we go. This is the ahi confusion. This is a macadam pepper. It's one of the, well, any ahi is a macadam pepper. Originally South American, they grow prolifically and often in these weird and funky shapes. So this is the ahi confusion with one of the weirder and funkier shapes out there. It was originally crafted in Italy, or bred out in Italy, and I got my seeds from Atomic Pepper Seeds this year to a little Instagram special. So let's just fire right into this and see what we've got. Okay. It's got a slight grassy flavor or scent to it. Bunch of pepper seeds right up there at the top. Actually, here. I find that it focuses better if I lift the whole plate. So, there we go. Let's see what we got. I'll just move this right now because it's a bulky guy. So there we go. See, lots of seeds, a bit of pith down there, very thin-walled. Looks quite a bit like the other ahis we've had so far this series. But let's see how the flavor compares. A little chunk of the nose here. Ahi confusion. Or is it? So it's very juicy. There's not sure what flavor I'm getting there. So I'll try another piece here. I think it's coming out quite a bit like the Ahi Fantasy, which turns out was developed by Bhutlah in Finland. I don't believe I mentioned that on that episode when I did the Ahi White Fantasy. I have since learned that, so credit where it's due. Okay. Very slight fruitiness there. There's it's hard to put my finger on exactly what I'm tasting there. There's a bit of the spice, but it's coming. The heat is hitting me in a way where it feels almost like a minty toothpaste, if that makes any sort of sense. These run about 10,000 to 15,000 Scoville heat units, so they're at the mild end of the macadam scale. I'm not sure what I would use that pepper for, with that sort of oddish flavor. It might work in fresh scents, because I do use, fresh scents, 2020 Canadian Hot Sauce Award winner for Best Jalapeno Sauce. It's a jalapeno lime sauce that uses some coconut water and Canadian mint for the fresh scents joke. With that little hint of a fruity mint in here, that pepper could work in fresh scents, but I'm not sure where else it would go. Maybe into a salad, perhaps? As you will. All right, let's get on to pepper 3 today. So this is I call it a monster cayenne, because it's longer and bigger than most cayenne peppers I've seen. And I've been growing this for a few years. I believe it was 2020, could have been 2019, but I bought a bushel of these down at the St. Jacobs Farmers Market. They were labeled cayenne. I've been saving the seeds and growing them out since then. And you've seen in the genetics episode, one of our previous episodes, Genetics 1, this is one of the parents of one of the Garden of Apologies hybrid peppers that eventually will grow out here. So let's carve it down the middle here and see what we see. And this is a pepper I am quite familiar with because, as I said, I have been growing this now for a few years. if you bought any of the pepper powders in soy sauce, this is the Cayenne that I was using. If you hear a bit of commotion in the background, that's the cats, because it is always cat time here at the Garden of Apologies. And there we go. Crack it open. Exactly what you expect. It's got a very peppery kind of scent. You can see we've got the nice spread of seeds in there, which is why it was so easy to save these and grow them out. Just look at how many seeds we get in here per pod. It's quite a bit. Angle in there. There we go. I've got it. And for the flavor, if I recall from having this in previous years, this is on the mild end of the Cayenne scale, and it's got a nice sweet fruitiness to it. Yep, there it is. Nice sweet fruitiness, perhaps a hint of tropical there, and just a bit of back of throat tickle. So cayenne peppers normally hit about anywhere from, they sort of sit in the 30 to 50,000 Scoville heat unit range, or sometimes they sit in the 50 to 100,000 range. This one, I'm going to say it's definitely at the lower end. I'll call it somewhere around 30,000. But again, it's a nice, big, sweet, fruity pod. Definitely a good garden thing to have. I'll keep growing it. I don't make a cayenne sauce, but I like this pepper enough that I keep growing it every year. Ooh, straighten me out there. Awesome. What are we doing next? What do you feel like? How about the death spiral? Okay, let's do death spiral. Here it is. Little guy here. This is a pepper that's got a kind of an interesting backstory on it. So just so I've got my notes, because it gets complicated. So it runs about 1.4 million Scoville heat units. So it's about a scorpion heat level. It was developed originally in the United Kingdom by a grower named Harry Smith. And he sent the seeds out to Jim Duffy, Refining Fire, down in Carolinas. I don't know where Jim is. He's somewhere down in the States. It all kind of blurs in a bit together. There's the coastal area, then there's the part in the middle that it's all pretty much the same thing if you're not from there. But it's a Naga bubblegum crossed with a Naga viper. And as Jim was growing this out, he noticed that one plant had a bunch of weird, kind of gnarly looking little pods with a bit of a brain strain pepper characteristic to them. So he named them Death Spiral in 2017, and he's been growing them out. I got my seeds from Baker Creek. I get a lot of my seeds from Jim Duffy, but Baker Creek is a top quality company, and their prices are just unbeatable. 50 seeds for about $5. That is really hard to turn down when the counter offer is 10 plus seeds for $6. So Baker Creek, they're at rareseeds.ca. Good place. I'll be back next year. But for now, the Death Spiral pepper. Got a very floral smell to it so far. Let me just show you what we've got here. There you go. Center that up. It's got one of those neat little bonus peppers growing on the inside. I don't know if I'm going to get any seeds out of these based on the composition of these pods, but if I can get that batch from Baker Creek again, it won't matter so much. And this is just a slightly underformed pod from a disappointing range in the garden. Not all of the land I have out there is extremely productive. We've got about 3/4 of an acre here in Lebanon, Ontario, but our home is an 1888 church, and when it was built, there was a drive shed for it to house the accoutrements and other vehicles. The drive shed is since gone, but the foundation is still out there in the yard. So there's a certain piece around just in from the perimeter of the Garden of Apologies, where if you dig down about half a meter or so, you start to run into mortar and gravel, and if you're lucky, you can get a really big rock that you can pry out. Sadly, we've kept a bunch of those rocks as cat tombstones. So our church has its own cemetery. It's full of cats. There is Minerva, Maury, Big Orange Maurice, my boy Marbles, and the unknown cat, who I think is one of Maven's kittens. But regardless of whether I know the cat or not, I would rather put it in a respectful spot than leave it out in the road in the rain. But to get past that morbidity and into the peppers, let me just eat a piece here of this death spiral pepper. Clink, clink. All right. No, I didn't get much from that. I didn't get a whole lot of flavor. It's pretty neutral. There's a bit of texture there, but I didn't get much flavor. And there's a bit of a throat tingle. So I'm going to take a slice here from up the wall and not just the bottom. Oops. Hey, I picked the spot where the pepper curves. So I'm getting two pieces here. Oh, here's marmalade. Oh, off the keyboard, please. Always cat time here in the Garden of Apologies. Oh, okay. Well, all right, Death Spiral. Apparently there's a fruitiness to it. I didn't get that. The fruitiness, it may come out on a better developed pod, but for this, I just get floral and encompassing tongue heat. I may end up growing that again next year, just see if I can get it to produce a bit better. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see what kind of space I have. Because if you keep watching episode 19 and the epilogue for the series, you'll get to meet a new pepper that I'm calling the Marbles pepper, after my boy. I want to focus on growing that. Really cool pepper. Wait and see. Past the cool peppers into the hot peppers, let's get back on this. And again, it's been a weird week, so if I'm off on this, thank you very much for your patience and bearing with me. This, I believe, is a Jay's Peach Ghost Scorpion, but hey, what do you know? Everything, the frost came on fast. I pulled probably 80 different cultivar types into various containers. I had empty hot sauce boxes lined up in across the floor, and as I was sorting through things, they went into the various boxes, and so it's all been a blur. And on top of that, yeah, you know, so ooh, piece of hair there. That is not a pepper, but we've got 13 cats here, and I've got a 14th they carry here, so we're used to eating cat hair all the time. It's almost as ubiquitous as the hot sauce. So that's the pepper. If it is a Jay's Peach Ghost Scorpion, it was developed by Jay Weaver. His farm was called Meadowview Farm in Pennsylvania, where it was a red ghost and a scorpion that just spontaneously crossed in the yard, as sometimes they do, and he's been growing it out. So the Jay's Peach Ghost Scorpion I've had previously is a terrific pepper. As with peach peppers, it tends to have that nice fruitiness. It is very useful, and I've got a couple kilos over in the freezers right now. But this is what I have now. I'll try this with a fresh pod to see if this is the right thing. Then maybe we do it again with a frozen pod if I've chosen the wrong thing. Dang, I missed my mouth. That's my eating disorder there. Yep, it's got the fruit. So I've got that definite fruit flavor right up front there. It's got the back of throat snap happening almost right away. That could be the scorpion genetics. I'm not feeling so much the creep that I get from the ghost pepper. I find that the capsaicin always affects you differently. The ghost tends to creep on me. Scorpion hits right there at the back of the throat. Based on how this is hitting me, I think that is scorpion right there. So that could be a Jay's Peach Ghost Scorpion. Let's roll with it and say it is. There we go. Hey, the way the pepper world goes, you might as well call it anything. If you've crossed it, you've got your F1, F2, you slap a name on it. Results may vary. Sell those seeds. Guys like me, I'll probably buy them and grow it and figure out what the hell it is. Yeah. So what do you want to do next? The last three are pretty hot. I'll get this one. This, I'm pretty sure, is a Bhutlah scorpion. It doesn't look the same as some of the pictures I've seen, but some of these hybrid peppers, it's almost a crapshoot what you're going to get. So assuming this is the Bhutlah scorpion, let me just fire on into her here. Here we go. Yep. Looks like we're getting our first snowfall outside today, sometime tonight. So I have the big extension cords run out to the greenhouse. I have extreme regret. I have the heater set up there, and I am hanging out inside by the fire. That's why it's fireside with Erik. Oh. And I think that's Hank upstairs you hear yelling around, because cats here are always yelling. There we go. Looks quite a bit like a ghost pepper based on this first slice. Very thin. I see a whole lot of capsaicin. I don't know for sure if it's capsaicin. It's just there's some liquid pooling in there that could be the capsaicin oil. The oil itself is yellow. So sometimes if you look at the inside walls of a pepper and you see the kind of a yellow veining in there, that can give you an indication visually about how hot that pepper might be. And it's better to quantify it with something like a spectral analysis. But this will let you eyeball it a little bit and figure out what you're getting into. So, assuming this is the Bhutlah scorpion, this was first from Chad Selesky, who was a Wisconsin grower who bred this out in 2016. In 2017, it earned the nickname of the Reaper Killer. So, well, it may or may not be the Reaper Killer. It's a red Bhutlah that seems to have crossed with a scorpion pepper. And the Bhutlah, of course, is a cross between the Bhutlah, which is our red ghost pepper, and a 7-pot Douglas, sometimes known as a Trinidad Douglas. Okay. It's a very thin, very papery kind of pod. Very faint initial sweetness, almost a neutral flavor. It's more like a texture than an actual flavor. Something like you spat out a hard candy and then chewed up a spitball, if that's a good analogy. And then the encompassing heat. The floral came on as a very quick second on there. And all around the package is somewhat unpleasant. So I'm not a fan of this pepper. Let me give you another good shot at it here. Not a nice guy. It's got a very impressive heat, but the flavor is crap. While we're panned down here, I will show you another of the Chinenses. It's almost all Chinenses today with an annuum, bacatum, and of course the bell pepper. Over here, they are annuums. This is a chocolate Primotalii, and it's a debatable pepper whether or not it is related to the original Primotalii pepper, which is a cross between the 7-pot Primo and a chocolate Fatali. I'm looking at this and it's just putting the chocolate in my head here. So it's a yellow Fatali. Most Fatalis are yellow. So the Primotalii is a Fatali Primo cross. The chocolate version could be something else. Jim Duffy has some very strong opinions about things, one of which is that the chocolate Primotalii doesn't really exist. Either way, this is a thing called a chocolate Primotalii, and there's a guy who calls himself Johnny Scoville who has eaten this and said it's the hottest thing he's ever eaten in his life. And that's as real as anything else is. So let's just give it a shot and see what it does. And no diss on anyone involved. Of course not. It's just peppers are peppers. Eat them, have fun, grow them, have fun. There's nothing really you should be fighting about, and there's way too much drama in this small, small world of ours. So there we go. Let's have a look at her there. And that's the chocolate Primotalii. Tiny little guy, very, very thin-walled. Just a few seeds in there that, of course, I will tuck away and see if I can save. Ooh. Ooh. That is a chocolate pod smell. And one thing I've really learned doing this, 104. I'm at pepper 103 of 104 so far this year. Chocolate pods have a particular smell to them. It's kind of earthy. It's a little smoky. There's definitely a large bit of floral in there. Sometimes you get a hint of fruitiness, but it's mostly smoky, earthy perfume. It's like you've got a hippie ant or something. All right. Oh, Johnny Scoville can do this. Let me see what I can do. A little piece here. Again, not a whole pod, just okay. There is about a second of fruit flavor there, and then the floral kicks in. It's a definite creeper heat on there, where it started off with a pretty good heat to it, and it is definitely getting hotter and definitely getting more unpleasant. So, chocolate Primotalii, that is a hot, hot pepper. Yeah. It's not, oh hey Bruce. It's always cat time here at the Garden of Apologies. Yep, it's always cat time. Bruce is the boss cat. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, this has been the longest episode so far, so I'm going to wrap you up here with a special pepper. My good friend Heiko, Heiko's Hot Sauce. We just call him Heiko. He's got a last name, but he doesn't need it. He's like Cher or Madonna that way. We just call him Heiko. Because everyone knows Heiko, right? You okay, Brucey? All right, he's fine. But this is a lemon bomb. This is a surprise pepper that Heiko found, I believe, 2 seasons ago in his Field of Screams in, I think it's a mountain just outside of uh, outside of Ottawa. Might be Mountain. It could be Kemptville. Either way, he grows a Smoky Ridge Vinery. Smokey's a really cool guy. He rents out some land to Heiko, and Heiko grows stuff like this in the field of screens. So this, I don't know what the original cross is on this. I don't think Heiko knows what this is. Because sometimes you just find a pepper in the garden that you don't expect. And this is called a lemon bob. Because as they found it, legend has it, Heiko asked his friends what they should name the pod. When somebody said Bob, let's name it Bob. And then with the yellow and presumably a flavor with it, it became the lemon bob. And every time I hear the name, I think about No Means No and the day everything became nothing. I couldn't remember my name, so I called myself Bob. It's weird being a Bob, but I'll get used to it. I have to. There we go. Classic Canadian punk rock. That's what you do before you turn into a farmer. So the lemon bob. Nice. One seed came out right away, so I'm just going to pop that to the side and save it. So I got at Heatwave Expo in London, I believe 2 years ago. Heiko and I did a little plant swap. Some Reaper Beast Peach. Actually, it was a Reaper Beast Peach that then ripened into a Reaper Beast. We traded the Reaper Beast Peach and the Lemon Bob. So, nice bit of fruitiness to it. Nice. Here. Oh, and here comes Louise. There. Let's pause for a minute here and say hi to Louise. Hello, Louise. How are you, sweetheart? Yep. She is how we got the greenhouse cats. 2 years ago, Louise showed up in my greenhouse in springtime, and she had a kitten with her. And I was watering the greenhouse and watering the plants, and this little fuzzy kitten popped out, shook the water off, and came over to say hi. That was Marbles. He was my good pal. This is his mom. She was a feral barn cat who has decided this year that she doesn't like being outside, and she's moved in. So we've been good friends now for a few years. Let me show you a little bit more of Louise. Oh, no, I guess she's done. Cats are mercurial that way. It's always cat time here. Louise is a sweetheart. You wouldn't think that she was a self-sufficient feral barn cat until about a month ago when we said, hey, do you want to come on in? And she came on in. So, back to the lemon bob. Got kind of a neutral scent to it. I'm not picking up much there. We slice off a piece here, and got some Louise. She even came with her name. She was part of a colony across the road, and she moved out, brought Marbles with her, and moved here. There we go. Piece of lemon bob. You ready? Let's do it. There she is. That's nice. Nice fruitiness to it. It's a light pepper. Find out there's a bit of heat there that I'm starting to get around the back of the throat and back of the tongue. It's hard to get an accurate gauge on how hot that actually is based on the flight of peppers I've done to this point. But there is a very nice flavor on it. And a bit of the sweetness, a bit of the fruit, slight notes of citrus, and I am not getting the floral. So that's a good pepper. I know it wasn't planned, Heiko, but good job. That's a nice guy. Nice pepper there. I haven't used it for anything yet. I'm not planning to flex too much with this pepper because it's Heiko's creation and not my own. So I haven't used it for anything, but I have grown a couple of plants last year, a couple more this year, just for the fun, just so I can do things like this and eat different peppers. But that's it. That's 8 peppers for today. 8 peppers. thank you again for watching. This is the it's Garden of Apologies. This is Pepper School. I'm Eric. I'm the Barmy Farmer. Just again, I've been doing this since 2014. Started as a backyard gardening project and got completely out of hand. And now I've got a little pepper farm here in Lebanon, in Mapleton Township, in Ontario, Canada. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for episodes 19 and the epilogue, where I talk about the Pimenta donita and red ghost pepper cross that I've been growing out here since, I believe, 2017. So share some pods around. Lisa McKay is a terrific grower down by Windsor. She's had some pods. Drew from Hurtberry Farm has had some. As this marbles pod is, the different varieties of the marbles pod develops, I have other friends that will be growing them out with me as well. I've got Jeff Davis at Island Sun. He'll get some pods. Mark Brissot will get some. Sebastian Dallaire. Nico Hugendijk from Capsaicin Cartel. He's on my list. Ooh. Yep. Ooh. Sorry. All right. Let's throw it off for a second there, because Louise is a farty cat. Wow. You haven't lived until you've been sitting directly above the rising heat of a mouse cat fart. So Louise eats the mice outside. Well, that's a good place to stop. So thank you for watching. Please check out episode 19 and the epilogue. Oh, Shane Viking Heat Hammond from Bourne of Woodstock. He'll get some seeds as well. He'll help me grow them out. Let me just grab Louise here for a second. Here's my girl. There's Louise. Boy, you sure are stinky. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me for Cat Time. I'll see you next time. And you may see me again in the springtime when I start up my seeds. And we'll do a preview as we lead into the season. How do you start seeds? How do you cultivate them? How do you transplant them? The whole process of inside of the grow tent before we hit the greenhouse. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.